Fortunate. And so we have a lot to talk about, just a lot to get to. And if you want, hi everybody, welcome to the
Talk about
conversation.
love, health and wellness, transformation, yeah, we got it. Discuss your breakthroughs, national
Our local
issues.
Bahamians and also with those who are listening around the region and the world this afternoon. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have an audience that really from Europe to the United States, Canada, around the region, and of course, Bahamians right here who are very interested in just wanting to know the answers and ask the questions that get them the answers that they seek. Before we introduce
need a little inspiration, tune into the conversation. Talk about it on the conversation.
This is the time, Shenique, when the country really needs to find ways to join together to fight common problems that we have. Collaborative leadership.
You need a little conversation. We can go far with the conversation. Here with Shenique on the conversation, yeah.
Please share the video, share. Tag some people in the live feed, share it in your private Facebook group, share it in your WhatsApp group.
Here with Shenique on the conversation, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the conversation. I hope you all are having a wonderful Wednesday. And I wasn't going for an alliteration. It just happened. It just came out that way. But hope everybody's doing great. And welcome to today's show. Of course, this is one of those one-on-one interview type shows. I am excited about today's guest. This is not the first time that he's been on the show. He's a regular, but he's showing up in a different capacity today. And so we're excited to hear from him. And I'm excited that you all are joining us. And listen, as you come in, number one, say hi, let us know where you're watching from, and then share the live stream, tag some people in the live stream, share the live stream, and welcome to the conversation. I want to say a big hello to Kizzy Aisha Newton. I think she was the first person in the live stream, and if I don't say that, she will kick me. And so big hello to you, Kizzy. Thank you for being first. Terry Pinder from North Luther was the second. And so good afternoon to both of you ladies, and good afternoon to everybody who is streaming. It is so wonderful to have all of you on the live stream today. Welcome to the show. I'm Shenique Miller. And listen, let's just get right in because my guest has a lot going on. As you can imagine, is very, very busy out of one meeting after the next today. And so doing a lot of things because after all, it's election season. And today he is on the show in his capacity as the vice chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. And today, of course, he is here to talk all things PLP, all things election, all things the government, all things the third parties. Is the PLP nervous about these third parties? Man, there are quite a few of them. Are they nervous? We're going to talk about that. We're going to hear from him. Obie Roberts, good afternoon to you. And it's wonderful, sir, to welcome you on the conversation today. How is your day going?
Good afternoon, Shenique. Good afternoon, Bahamas. And it's always a pleasure to be back on your show. I'm just thankful and grateful to still be alive.
Absolutely. We all are. We are all very, very grateful and continue to be in prayer as a nation and obviously, individually as well. Obie, let's just jump right in. First of all, how's the PLP? It's about what? 3 weeks?
22 more days. Yes.
22 more days until the general election.
Yes.
Obie Roberts, Vice Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. How does the PLP feel on the ground? What is the reception like as the candidates for the party move about, not just here in the capital, but around the country?
Shenique, people are excited because finally Dr. Minnis has announced an election date. We are less than 4 weeks away from D-Day to vote out this F&M government. But also the Bahamian people are also very eager because they want a new government who gives opportunities and inspire its citizens. Unlike the F&M government, Shenique, our candidates been making the rounds amidst this COVID pandemic and everything. It hasn't been easy. But the Bahamian people right now are very, very eager. They've been waiting for this day for quite some time, and they want to see a change. They want to see a change in government. They want to see the PLP back. And also with a mandate that helps Bahamians.
So they want to, and you all are hearing, feeling, and seeing, and being told the people want the PLP back.
Yes. And I'll say this, Shenique. They want us back. They want us back better than ever. And also, some have had their reservations in terms of, well, we want this. We're looking for this, Mr. Roberts. We anticipate that the PLP under Mr. Davis and Mr. Cooper's leadership is going to give us opportunities. You have some of the young men who want small business opportunities for themselves or educational opportunities for themselves. All right, an opportunity to be a part of the development of our country. You know, a lot of people feel that they are second and third class citizens in their own country and that there's no future for them. That's why you see, and I would never thought I would have seen this, Bahamians leaving our country, choosing to go to the United States or Canada for better opportunities in large numbers, I would say.
But we're going to talk about some things that are concerning for Bahamians, etc. And even, as you said, that's maybe driving many of them away or seeking opportunities elsewhere. I want to say good afternoon to everybody who's streaming. Thank you very much. Brendaline Wilson, streaming from Atlanta. It's good to have you streaming. Good afternoon to Dominic Oliver, streaming from Boston. Good to have you streaming. Hello, Brenda Cooper. Hello to Darlene Johnson says, but will there be change? Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that as we continue. But listen, who stands out to you in this candidate sort of pool of 39 people, individuals? And I'm not talking about the leadership, the leader and the deputy. Which candidate stands out most to you for the PLP and is most interesting in your view?
Well, Shenique, we have quite a few new faces, you know. Quite a few new faces, which the general public wanted to see from the PLP. We have a mixture of young first-timers, and then we also have some experienced persons. And I mean, the singular one particular newcomer won't be a wise thing to do with many others who've been doing very well in their constituencies. I just wanted to commend all of them for doing a great job, which has not been very easy, to put yourself, to put your family, to put your campaign workers in harm's way by going out during this pandemic.
Listen, this is so sticky. I mean, you know, just watching people campaign and move about, and obviously it has to be done differently. It has to be. First time, right? But then because it's still so new, candidates find themselves from every party still kind of trying to want to go out and feel the people so that people can say, hey, we're here, we're really here. But it's a really, really challenging time, eh?
Shenique, like for instance, a couple of weeks ago, we just had our candidate in Freetown, Wayne Monroe, who contracted COVID. All right, and he had to take some time away, quarantine himself. His family
and was hospitalized for a moment.
Exactly. So you have people who are putting themselves and family in harm's way to provide a service to the citizens of the constituency and the country at large. So a lot of these candidates, of all these candidates, should be commended. And I will also say, even the candidates from the other parties that are offering themselves, it has not been easy for nobody.
Yeah, because we don't know what the situation is, but the candidate from South Andros,
yes,
he had to pull out.
Yes, and day by day, Shenique, we're hearing persons who are facing major health crises, and even persons who have died from COVID that we've been seeing from last year to this year. So I just wanted to commend all of the persons who put forth themselves. It has not been easy. People fail to realize normally our campaign process is rallies, advertisements, as you'll see now, but the rally thing has basically been shelved because of the emergency order, because no more than 20 persons can gather in anywhere right now based on the emergency orders due to COVID. So parties had to reinvent themselves in terms of how we get our message out, how we also go door to door and communicate and give our message throughout the archipelago.
Yeah, and you know, it's necessary right now. No political organization, the big ones like you all, and of course the governing party, do not try be extra. Like, truly, we all must. Those in the political sphere must obviously continue to operate sensibly. Good afternoon to you, Juliet Haven, watching and streaming from Jamaica. Hello to Denise Darville, streaming from Abaco. Hello to everybody. It's wonderful to have you all. Let me know where you're streaming. Hello to Brenda May Bain. Let me know where you're streaming from. Really, really awesome. So here it is. Stacy Smith says, I've been looking at Dr. Minnis with a flash, looking for Dr. Minnis. She says that Brave Davis is going to shock a number of people. at how well he governs. And so, Brave Davis, you know, that there's been this tug of war, Obie, about Brave, Chester. Some people saying, "Oh, I'm not so sold on Brave." Your thoughts on the leadership of the Progressive Liberal Party at this time?
Shenique, the Progressive Liberal Party is 1,000% strongly behind our leader, Philip Brave Davis. We don't mind the naysayers out that way. If you recall, some 5 years ago, they wanted Mr. Davis in to replace Mr. Christie. You remember that? And people wanted to see Mr. Christie gone. Now you hear the same lip service. Now they want Mr. Davis gone. That's just the mischief makers and our opponents out that way trying to create some mischief. We are firmly behind our firm and compassionate leader, Philip Brave Davis, who's unequivocally our leader, and also our deputy leader, Chester Cooper. Those two will lead us into an election victory, and they will be Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister on September 16th, God's willing.
Hello to you, Ashanti Russell, streaming from Grand Bahama. So I will say hello again. And by the way, if you have questions, comments, observations for Obie Roberts, he is in the leadership bracket of the party itself. So he is able to field some questions. Certainly put them in, I will get to it. But let us just get into the meat of some things. The owner of SuperValue, who is a very outspoken gentleman and corporate citizen, has warned us about the increase in the cost of food. I think between maybe 2 months ago and the end of the year, but he's saying again today that come next month, September, expect a hike in the cost of food. Now we know what the reasons are globally for all of that, but Obie, what does the impact stand to be for the Bahamas? That already the wheels are slowing in terms of what's available and that kind of thing.
Shenique, that's another punch to the stomach, a gut punch. As Bahamians struggle now to survive, to keep their head above water, all right, in which we now you hear the price of food is going up, in which we've seen the price of food gradually go up, particularly during COVID and this year. And persons are trying to figure out how best they can stretch a dollar and what they can purchase for themselves and their family. It is tough. We've seen persons on various lines looking for food vouchers and certificate just to survive. When I was an aspirant, I faced some of the similar challenges. Our candidates right now are facing similar challenges with persons who just simply are in need for food, water, gas, just for them to survive. When you go to their homes, some persons don't have no electricity. You go to their homes, some persons' cupboards are bare. They don't have any water. And their children, and now we are now a few weeks away from school opening, and persons trying to figure out how best we're going to manage the situation now with the price of food now going up, and that there is going to be people right now pulling their hair out, like how are we going to survive?
You know, Obie, it is a frightening prospect, and should the Progressive Liberal Party win at the polls, what is the answer? Just to that right there, and then combine that with food security and just healthier options of food. But the fact that the most scary thing facing us staring us in the face is this sort of food shortage that we talked about from last year, if you remember on the show, that many people predicted would be the next pandemic.
Well, Shenique, if you didn't remember, many Bahamians don't remember, in 2013, under the last Progressive Liberal government, last Progressive Liberal Party government, we implemented and ushered in BAMSI for situations like this, and also if we had faced in hurricane season substantial damages. BAMSI was supposed to make us food sufficient and independent, in which we grow our food and be able to feed ourselves and lessen our dependency on the outside world, particularly the United States. And I think we need to continue on that. We have over 600 acres of beautiful, lush land that we could develop and reform our agriculture industry in the country, and not turn it into a political football, but the true reason of feeding us and making us dependent, making us much more independent. And also, Shenique, with that, it would lower the amount of money that we spend importing food.
And on the checkout line as well.
Yes, we import close to $1 billion of food every year. That was the number before the COVID pandemic impacted us. That's how much money we spend importing food. But if we become self-sufficient and grow our own food, and particularly healthy food,
Yes.
healthy food, organic food, chemically free food, that because many Bahamians right now, if you take a look at it, Shenique, are getting sicker at a younger age from very strange illnesses that we don't know. We become a fast food country where we eat a lot of KFC, and there's no knock against any of the fast food establishments, but just the fact we are becoming an unhealthy society based on what we consume.
Well, what is then, Obie? And this isn't this because we're going to really get into governance, and issues facing the country right now. But how do you even sort of legislate that? You know, the fast food and sort of the westernized way of eating has infiltrated just about every country on earth. There are few countries that maintain their authenticity and where the people are extremely healthy.
Education.
As you remember, I have run a national campaign with the Ministry of Health to try and get people to change their mindsets about food selection. How do you tell a people who figure it's their, hello, my constitutional right, I can eat what I want, to understand, listen, man, this is important. You see what's happening right now? So you have to try take charge of where you can take charge of.
Shenique, plain and simple, you educate the people on the pros and cons. If you eat poorly, don't expect to get great results in terms of your health. If you expect your blood pressure could go up, your cholesterol could go up. If you don't exercise, these are things that would associate with persons who don't eat well and who don't exercise well. And these are the highly likely possibilities that could develop from that. But educating people, as I said, but more education is needed with COVID, the same thing. If it's a matter of one's choice, give them the information, the correct and true information, that they can make the proper decisions for themselves, the smart decisions for themselves in order for them to live longer and live healthier.
Speaking of health, let's look at the major issue that's really facing the globe. But let's single it to the Bahamas. How does the PLP feel? And we have seen many statements, news conferences, the leaders speaking to it, etc., that the government has handled COVID.
Shenique, we, as much as we support the F&M government in terms of hopefully educating the Bahamian citizenry on the COVID and particularly the vaccines. And we've been very, very critical because we've submitted our own COVID economic plan to help advance the country. We also suggested tracing. We also suggested free testing. Now, you see how long it took this government to also provide vaccines for the citizenry. And I just recently took a look at a statistic that we are ranked 17th out of 17 countries in the region for, and I would provide 17th nation in the region to receive or begin vaccinations with COVID. Are you saying,
hold on, we started when? About March or so? When did we start?
I think we started late last year, maybe a handful. And then
last year, well, forgive me. So you're saying other countries in the region started vaccinating their citizens before that?
Way before that, and Shenique, and I would say this based on the statistics that is given to me right now. And you remember that you had some private entities earlier this year who wanted to give the government. No, I don't know. I think I stand corrected. They did. It was early this year with the vaccinations, not late last year.
Earlier this, right? I thought so. Earlier this year.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That the private entities wanted to supply the Bahamas with vaccinations, and Cuban ministers in the F&M government had turned them down. For what particular reason, we don't know. But it's not a good decision. Then they brought
Well, I'll tell you this. I remembered, and even just the most recent news conference, that a national address rather that he had. He said that that approved by the WHO, by the CDC, vaccines is what the government would endorse. Maybe you think that's it. Maybe that they wanted to have vaccines that were approved on some official level.
Shenique, that's their feeble excuse. I want to provide you with some statistics here. The Bahamas is ranked 17 out of 17 nations in the region of countries that received or began vaccinations of its citizens. Number 1 is Cayman. Number 2 is Turks and Caicos. Number 3 is Guyana.
Wow.
Number 4 is Barbados. Then we go to Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Dominican Republic, Curacao, Aruba, St. Martin, Suriname, Belize, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, Jamaica, and then 17th is the Bahamas. This is what we've been.
Man, Obie, where you got that from? Obie, you didn't just make, because Obie, how was that possible? I don't get. We were, so we were the last to get it in and the last to start vaccinating our people. Those countries you mentioned are ahead of us in vaccinating or providing the vaccine for their people.
Yes, when they received, excuse me, be clear, when they received and began vaccinations of its people in their country.
What does that say to you, that ranking?
And we have a doctor as a prime minister, Shenique. We have a doctor as a prime minister, Shenique. That should tell you something. That should be an eye opener. That should be an eye opener.
What does that ranking say to you and the PLP?
Shenique, it only tells us that we have already known that this government has dragged its feet. They had no plan for COVID. They had no plan when COVID began last year. If you recall, with the Progressive Liberal Party, we provided a COVID economic plan to revive and jumpstart, or at least kickstart the economy. As we suffered, tourism had collapsed with the closing of the hotels. Many businesses are shut down. This F&M government has yet to provide any economic plan. On top of that, this is not this.
But Obie, now you're not being fair. Remember the ERC, I think it is, Economic Recovery Committee. So I may have gotten that little acronym that wrong. But the point is, you remember them, that grand committee that was formed with a number of very experienced top business minds. They were put together and they came up with some plans and recommendations.
Shenique, the people on that economic council was respected, but their plan was not. That was almost a carbon copy of another country's economic plan. And that was the thing that we found very disappointing. Is the F&M following that plan that was submitted by that council? No. What are we seeing right now? We are seeing a completely disjointed approach by this government in its most critical time where we need to save lives. We need to educate our citizenry. We need to inspire our citizens as we move forward in these most critical times, Shenique. And this is one of the reasons why our leader, Philip Brave Davis, had openly suggested, all right, a debate with Prime Minister Minnis, a challenge, an open challenge. We've noticed Dr. Minnis has not responded. Is Dr. Minnis afraid? Is he afraid to face the music?
I'll tell you about that. People say, listen, man, now stop that posturing right there, because when the University of Bahamas had its debate series going on, either leader, none of them stepped up and wanted to participate. So are you being a little facetious?
No, Shenique. Right now, as we are 3 weeks away from a general election, as many Bahamians last year observed when the United States had their debate to choose their leader, you don't think it's more than fair to the citizens of the Bahamas to see the leader of the opposition and our prime minister in a head-to-head debate 3 weeks out? Who presents the best plan possible to the Bahamian people so the Bahamian people can decide whom they want to lead them for the next 5 years. And me and the Progressive Liberal Party feel Dr. Minnis is afraid because he doesn't want to face the music. He doesn't want to answer any of the questions on many scandals that have taken place under his watch over the last 4.5 years, and also presently how he has poorly handled COVID under his watch over the last 18 months, Shenique.
My special guest this afternoon is Obie Roberts. Obie Roberts is the vice chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. And today he is talking politics. That's right, talking election, really, that is 22 days away. And talking about the Free National Movement, the government, the F&M's chances. By the way, what are the chances at the poll, you think, Obie?
Shenique, listen, the PLP is going to win, but I take nobody, no party, nothing for granted. I don't celebrate nothing until the results are in and been confirmed, and then you get acknowledged who's the winner. We are very, very confident in the Progressive Liberal Party. Remember this now. Our leader was ahead of the curve. He predicted that it was going to be a snap election. When Dr. Minnis said, no, we're going to have elections in May 2022. He lied to the country then, Shenique. Remember that? That was earlier this summer. He did that to the Bahamian people. We were aware when our leader had a press conference in front of Gambia House, informing the country of the ballot boxes that were being sent to different family islands. persons in different government agencies that were overseas were asked to come home. We saw all of the telling signs, reading the tea leaves that we are going to prepare for a snap election. We were prepared for this. And right now, Shenique, the Bahamian people cannot wait to vote out this F&M government, who has brought nothing but pain and suffering and increased taxes on the backs of the Bahamian people, and also embarrassment to the Bahamian people, Shenique.
We're going to ask Obie what at least one of the embarrassments is, and also Obie, are you all just a little overly confident? How are you forgetting the number of third parties that are out there this election season? I want to hear your thoughts about those third parties. Who you think looks interesting? Who you think is an organization that perhaps the people are paying attention to? In fact, just yesterday, you see there was a new merge that happened, a new coalition of parties. I want to know what your thoughts are about that, and how do you think, though, this election season, so much of that is going on? What does that say? Is it sort of a boost for democracy, Bahamian, or is it something else? I want to hear from you when we come back. Listen, guys, if you're just tuning in, I am here with the Vice Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Obie Roberts. Obie Roberts, of course, is one of the senior members within the Progressive Liberal Party. Today he's talking election. Today he's talking governance. Today he's also grading the Free National Movement, and also looking at the other parties, third parties out there who are all vying to lead the country come September 16th. We're going to continue with Obie Roberts, but first we're going to take a quick break. By the way, do share the live stream, get some more people in here, tag every candidate that you know in this live stream and share it with everybody you know. We're going to take a break and come back with more of the conversation right after this.
Shenique, and I taking it easy on them today.
I see that, Obie. You absolutely yes. I see.
I could put it on. I could put it on them the second this, because I know we got another 30, 45 minutes left. I got something for them. I got something.
I see you taking it easy, Obie. Is Kara there? Are you there, Kara? Well, Obie, you know what? Let's just continue going.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kara is not there at the moment. Obie, well, let's just jump in exactly where we kind of left off before I tried to go to a break. And so then let's talk about the third parties. Those third parties have been very convincing. Very certainly, they got your attention. They got your attention this election season. What are your thoughts? And who, I mean, if you weren't Obie Roberts, Vice Chairman of the PLP, who is it that you were like, whoa, okay? And then also considering the coalition or the new groupings that came together yesterday.
Shenique, you don't take nobody for granted. All right. You'd be surprised. And I want to remind the Bahamian public and also persons who are listening. In 2012, when we won the election in big numbers, a new party, the DNA, who ran for the first time, was able to capture more than 10,000 votes. Now, they didn't win a seat, but those collective 10,000 votes played a major factor in who won and who lost some of those other seats that led to the Progressive Liberal Party winner. And I'm just speaking hard facts. Mm-hmm. Okay. This here it is good for democracy. I don't know anyone who wants to stifle democracy. If persons want to offer themselves, to offer a service to lead their country, by all means, why not, Shenique? This is all, the Bahamas belongs to all of us, all of us. But you must have a plan, and a sensible plan that people want to hear and people can believe in. All right. And some of the political parties, I've heard some of their comments, some of their pledges to the general public, even some of their criticisms. I've heard persons calling, the PLP and the F&M has led this country down this path. And when I hear that, I choose not to say anything, because I think those comments are basically not correct and not fair.
Mm-hmm. Those comments are just self-serving to obviously achieve what they want to achieve, you're thinking?
Yes, Shenique, because like I said right now, I could point to many things and many successful things that the Progressive Liberal Party past governments have achieved. that transform our country. And you have the bit in the street, but we have far more successful things that have transformed our country. I mean, I hope all of them. I mean, it's not been easy for them. All right, as I said to you, in terms of campaigning, for many of them right now, traveling the country, finances, meeting the COVID protocols, paying the health visa that we're still trying to figure out the money for that as well, Shenique. That's another thing that many people are asking questions for, the monies surrounding the health visa. But we wish them well. But like I said, this, in my opinion, this is a two-man fight between the PLP and the FNM, in which the PLP will be victorious, but we'll be humble, Shenique. Because the thing about it is this: one task is to win the government. Now, when you are elected as government, you have an even greater task of governing and rebuilding your country and restoring confidence in your citizens, in your government. That's what we're not seeing right now with this Free National Movement government.
Kishan, listen, I did, the people in the live stream just as lit as usual, Obie. They're very lit. The system is set up, Stacey Smith says, that it makes it extremely difficult for a third party to win a seat. The votes are scattered. And you know what? I'll tell you this, Stacey, that kind of sort of is everywhere in the Western Hemisphere, eh? Obie?
Well, Shenique, if you take a look at it, okay, if Bahamians know their history, in 1967, it was the PLP and the UBP, all right? When the PLP successfully defeated the UBP in 67, and then we had a by-election and won by a bigger margin in 68, the UBP was still floundering around, even though they had folded their tents. The FNM emerged, okay? The FNM emerged. It took the FNM some time to gain their footing and to become the second leading party and the official opposition. Going into the 1977 elections, how many other parties have we had offering themselves to become the government? And if people know their history, in 1977, the Free National Movement wasn't even the opposition going into that election. They wasn't even classified as the opposition at that time. There was another party that was led by Mr. Henry Bostwick, who was actually considered the opposition at that time. And we have this is nothing new. We have many political organizations, persons who want to offer themselves, who may not be PLP, who may not be FNM, who may not be this, who want to see better for their country, and they choose their own path. But there comes certain challenges when you choose to start a new party who has no experience, and you want the people to believe your plan based off of what you think is your vision for the country, but you have no experience of doing so.
Yeah, very, very true. So then you're trying to say, just expect anything is possible, even though you say it's a two-man race.
But Shenique, the PLP in 1953 will form. We finally won the government in 1967. All right, the Free National Movement was formed in 1972. It took them until 1992 to win the government, 20 years. So it takes some time for the people of the Bahamas to gain, to trust you and to accept you. It doesn't happen overnight, all right? Because now you're talking about people giving you their vote and their country for the next 5 years that will determine their faith.
Yeah. Obie, you know what? There are a number of other things I want to talk to you about in terms of the PLP's plans. Just like you talked about the economy, the foreign reserves. If the CDC sends out a warning in the US, say, listen, do not travel to the Bahamas because of the COVID, the COVID situation there, and also secondarily crime. How does the PLP plan on addressing that? You already talked about how you think the government handled COVID or is handling COVID. How is the government, before you talk about how the PLP will address it, how would you say the government is handling or has handled crime?
Well, Shenique, what is very startling, and even though we've been in emergency orders from March of 2020, we still see murders going up, and particular crimes, and that is also heartbreaking. That is also heartbreaking, and we just try to encourage persons to have their conflict resolutions resolved through nonviolence. for the Progressive Liberal Party and Shenique, this is very, very critical right now. That we wondered what was Minister Dames's plan to help curb crime. All right, we don't want it to make it political, but when you do see the amount of violent crimes that are taking place, it raises the people's eyebrows of what is going on. I remember earlier this year, Minister Dames wanted to tout great success of how much the murder numbers have reduced. Now, we don't hear his mouth now when the murder numbers have increased under the same emergency orders. We just hope and pray that the police force, the defense force, and all of the arms out that way who are trying their best to try to keep things, keep law and order in our country and keep people safe, that they continue to do their job. It's not an easy task of that way, Shenique. But the Free National Movement has 3 weeks and a day left, and we'll see the backs of them, Shenique. We'll see the backs of them. The people are going to vote them out, and the Progressive Party will be returned back to government with a fresh mandate to make this country safe and to inspire our people. A lot of our people lack inspiration from this government right now, and
yeah, when we come back, Obie, I hope Kara is there. When we come back, we are going to hear what some of that mandate is, break it down, let the people know what it is that Davis administration is proposing, and should, of course, the Progressive Liberal Party be successful at the polls on September 16th, that the Bahamian people can expect to see as the term goes on. We want to hear what some of that mandate is and exactly how are you planning on inspiring the people? How people who are, as you mentioned, scratching their heads for so many reasons right now, least of which is to hear when they go to the food store, their dollar still will be getting them less in a matter of weeks. And so we're going to talk about that when we come back and much more. Today, my special guest is the Vice Chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Obie Roberts. Obie Roberts is talking election, governance, and of course, the PLP's mandate to take the Bahamas on a different trajectory, on a different path. We're going to hear more from Obie Roberts after this break. Wait a minute, am I running this show by myself?
Bradley, you still on it?
Today, I know, I can see that we not go to this break. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, but Obie, let's continue talking. Let's just continue talking. I do apologize, viewers, for that. I do, and I'm trying to get obviously to get my sponsors in there, but we will continue going. Obie, before we talk about the PLP's mandate and all the rest of that, let's address the poverty level. The poverty level, I was just in a meeting before today's show where that came up, and it's quite worrisome. We know, of course, this pandemic has really affected people similarly globally, and so it's nothing synonymous to the Bahamas, but still, let's just zero in on the Bahamas and talk about the poverty level, talk about where Bahamians find themselves now.
Yeah, Shenique, that is, it brings tears to my eyes and many others in terms of the level of poverty that exists in our country. Now, granted, poverty existed before COVID, and then you have persons out that way who've lost their jobs, persons who've lost their homes, and they have kids, children to feed, babies to feed, and it has proven to be a huge struggle for many Bahamians out that way. And this was the thing I was saying to Shenique in terms of a plan for the people, how best you could provide some type of relief for the people, and this is the thing, Shenique. It is not just in the constituencies where you may presume poverty exists in other.
So you're trying to say this is there's sort of little pockets and signs of it all over, not just those maybe constituencies that come automatically to mind.
Yes, Shenique, you have quite a few, and you'd be surprised, man. We are proud people, We are very proud people. Some Bahamians choose maybe not to ask for assistance. They rather go about it quietly and privately. And then you have some persons who would ask for assistance. I get it all the time. Our candidates get it all the time. Our loving and compassionate leader, Philip Brave Davis, and our deputy Chesapeake gets it every day from the amount of persons who they get calls from seeking help, assistance in any particular way for them to at least get through the next day or through the next week. Shenique, you have Bahamians who are living from day to day now, no longer living from week to week, because things are right now. The amount of people are unemployed, and we know the unemployment statistics. They are real, Shenique. They are real out that way. When you go to these constituencies, persons don't have clothes to put on their children's back. They don't have the money to stretch, because you just mentioned to me earlier in the show in terms of the increase in food prices right now. All of this is going to be adding a burden on the backs of persons who already don't have much as it is. And so you have persons out there who have been giving as best as they can. I won't call the political organizations at all. Everyone knows that they've seen it. And I don't think I can suggest and encourage persons to be your brother's keeper. You may not be able to help everyone, but try help as much as you can while you can. Because we have a lot of people out that way suffering. And not just in Nassau. We have it in the Family Islands.
Wow, the Family Islands as well.
Yes, Shenique, many in the Family Islands are also experiencing certain hardships as well. Because the focus has always been Nassau-centric, and we figuring, okay, we have 24 constituencies here, and you have some persons who are hurting in Nassau. But you have people who are experiencing same economic, financial hardship throughout the archipelago. People, no later than person don't have a job, and they don't have any food. And they say, Mr. Roberts, I get 3 children. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of them?
So what is the PLP going to do? And it sounds good to talk, because everybody can talk now, but the reality is when you are in the chair, it's a different story. Or you perhaps you see that, wait a minute, it's a lot more complicated than it is. What you talked about the mandate. What is the PLP plan on doing in terms of just raising, not raising the poverty level, but addressing the poverty issue in this country, and getting more Bahamians not only back to work, but developing other industries where people become empowered, where people can sort of go and learn and obviously be self-sufficient in that way.
But Shenique, let me remind the Bahamian people, I want you to remind them, we had faced not a crisis like this, right? But we had many persons who are unemployed, who was challenged with monies. Our former Minister of Social Services, Melanie Griffin, created a debit card, all right? A debit card in which persons could go to the food store and be able to purchase stuff from that food and necessities to give them some dignity, all right? Persons who met the requirements. We just didn't hand it to every single person. And this began in Nassau, and this took place throughout the entire archipelago, Shenique. A social service debit card. This is what you call initiatives to help persons who are struggling to help themselves, Shenique. All right? That's what, and that is what we're going to continue to do through social services. Now, you ask about mandate, and I do not want to preempt our leader, because we're preparing for an economic plan on August 31st. Next week.
I see the town hall. Yes.
Right, which our leader and deputy leader is going to provide a detailed plan and other aspects of the incoming PLP government. But Shenique, I want people to be mindful of what the PLP has done in our track record. And we were just recently the government 4.5 years ago. Let me tell you what we helped with persons, the young people who were not certified in fields that they wanted to gain employment with. You remember the National Training Agency that helped kids from 16 to 25?
I remember.
Persons who left school, say for instance, who may have left school, young ladies who may have gotten pregnant and decided to drop out of school, young men who left school, they were given the opportunity to up training and gain certification in areas of their desire. Hospitality. You also had in terms of diving with the Defense Force. All right. You had persons also an IT and becoming IT specialists, and these were certificates that was not only recognized in the Bahamas but internationally. Nurses, that persons could travel overseas on their certificate to obtain employment. This is what you talk about, inspiring and creating opportunities for people. But you create the opportunity, but the Bahamian people got to go out and seize it for themselves. And that's absolutely. And the National Training Agency is still located on Glaston Road. And we are trying to figure out under this administration.
Is it in operation? Is it doing and meeting that mandate?
Shenique, we have not heard hardly anything from this government under this National Training Agency, Shenique. Just like
Wouldn't you say that maybe because the government has had so much to deal with, so much, it's been Dorian, and I think another storm before that, but it's been Dorian, it's been COVID that is ongoing, that maybe that the government has had its hands full in trying to keep people alive and trying to keep people fed in terms of maybe the unemployment benefits and all that.
But Shenique, Dorian took place 2 years ago. This government was elected 4.5 years ago. What were they doing with the National Trading Agency in 2017, 2018, and a majority part of 2019? Because this is the question that we want to ask. National Trading Agency, we were able to get almost 2,000 kids. 2,000 kids went through that program, Shenique. Many of them will graduate and obtain certifications with that, Shenique. Many of them. And this is what we are talking. The BAMSI program that we had in North Andros, that was all supposed to be married with the University of the Bahamas so that it become a learning institution to also revamp our agricultural reform in our country, to get more younger persons involved in agriculture, that we can feed ourselves and have younger Bahamians at the forefront of farming. The average age of a farmer that we realized that led us to open a BAMSI was 70 years of age.
Whoa, so no, that industry needs young, fresh minds to kind of pick up from where those people, and take it further.
And so you had that institutional knowledge at that age going to the grave, and very few of them passing it on to younger Bahamians, that which we could take agriculture to another, to greater heights. And so these were just some of the initiatives and policies that we implemented, Shenique. See, this is the thing here. We have a very good track record. But what we didn't do in the Progressive Liberal Party in our last term is we did not educate the public on all aspects of those many initiatives and the positive that came out of all of them. We didn't tell our story. We had the Free National Movement came behind us and tell our story. If you listen to persons talk about BAMSI, BAMSI is about one burnt building. But they wouldn't talk about that at one time under BAMSI, that BAMSI and Mr. Obie Roberts, the owner of SuperValue, had entered agreement in which SuperValue was carrying BAMSI products.
Well, you blame the PLP for not telling its story about BAMSI.
I said that. I said that we did not do a good job of educating and telling what transpired in these different initiatives. But it was so many great and fantastic things. When you listen to education and what the former Minister of Education was doing, he doubled scholarships for Bahamians who travel overseas from $7.7 to $16.2 million, Shenique. Education grew by leaps and bounds and continuously needs to grow. But education and constant education, we just can't take it upon the Bahamian people that the newspapers are going to be enough to inform the public. We have to be aggressive in leading the charge and educating the public on what government does. And the FNM had found themselves in that same situation. They chose not to educate the people on what they did. Well, primarily, they don't have much of a track record to promote anyhow right now.
Today, my special guest is Obie Roberts. Obie is the vice chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. Obie is talking election. Obie is talking post September 16th, but Obie is also talking about the Free National Movement led by the Minnis administration for these 5 years. And of course, the snap election that's just 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, 3 weeks and I guess a day away. Obie, the PLP is ready?
Yes.
To lead on day one?
We are going to be ready to lead. Now, some of the things, like I said right now, and I'm not going to be foolish to simply say, Shenique, that we are aware of what's going on financially. We don't know what dire straits this government has left us in until we really take a look at the books, but we are going to be ready. All right, our leader has a team who's able and willing and ready. Great and dynamic mind, Shenique. But this is what our leader wanted to. I issued a challenge to Prime Minister Minnis with this challenge because he wanted to have a debate to articulate his plan and to challenge the Prime Minister on his record. Our leader ain't scared. He ain't scared at all. He may be a little man, but he has big fight in him. And that's why we're hoping that the Prime Minister develops some courage and accepts the challenge and give the Bahamian people what they want. They want to see the debate between Prime Minister Minnis and the leader of the opposition, Philip Brave Davis, so people can make the decision that this is the person that we want to go with. This is the party who will lead us for the next 5 years or beyond. And that's what the Bahamian people need. This is about the people, not about one particular individual, but the concerns and livelihoods of your country, men and women. Give the people what they want. Don't be afraid. The country wants to see a showdown, a debate, a healthy debate, because we, the taxpayers, are entitled to that. We vote you in and we will vote you out.
Here is Chelsea Baptiste. Good day, Mr. Roberts. I would like to know the PLP's position on the disabled. Many of us can and are willing to work, but the country is not disabled friendly. Obie, hold that answer and answer that when we come back. Kara, first of all, are you there? I keep calling for a break. This is the third time. Are you there, Kara, that we can take this break really quickly before we answer that question and move on? Okay, so I just hope she's okay.
Make this your best summer ever with Flirty Girl's Sexy Summer Slim Down. Lose weight and win up to $3,000 in prizes. Sign up today and enjoy weekly challenges, weight loss coaching, and unlimited group workouts, including fat blasting boot camp, yoga, Pilates, cardio boxing, hardcore abs, dance off the pounds, and more. Enroll as a VIP and receive a free 7-day detox, one free laser and Brazilian wax, plus massage and sauna treatments for just $1 per minute all summer long. That's right, all summer long. Prizes include 1 year of free body contouring, free fitness programs, and so much more. All participants will be invited to take part in our sexy summer photo shoot to show off their results. So come on, what are you waiting for? Registration ends June 10th. Call 677-1689 or WhatsApp 467-9630 for more information.
Or the scenery. Or maybe you do it for the speed. Or maybe it's for the baby. It might just be for the next stop. Or even for the beautiful moments. Whatever your reason for driving, we'll be there to keep you going. Atura Auto, servicing your vehicle at a price that keeps your pockets happy. Call us today.
How would you like to shed some extra inches of that there are alternatives to surgery to get rid of unwanted fat? Let February Natural Health Spa help you reduce fat without surgery. February Natural Health Spa employs a series of methods in a customized plan to suit your fat loss goals. Target those stubborn and challenging areas on the body with our cavitation body shaper that uses heating lasers to break up and melt fat during each session. Did you know that as you drink, stomach and liver work together to help eliminate fat? Let Therapy Natural Health Spa help you get the results you've been waiting for. Call us for a free consultation and let Therapy Natural Health Spa work out a plan for you. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook. Our numbers are 393 1126 or 806-1132.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation. It's wonderful having you all streaming today. Please, please do me a favor. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. If only, listen, if only, okay, you guys obviously know Obie Roberts is vice chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party. So obviously you know where he supports. So guess what? If only the PLP is on the live stream, you share the live stream. Share it with your fellow constituents. Every candidate, share the live stream, tag them in the live stream as we listen to Mr. Roberts talk about the PLP's mandate and also just some things that the PLP plans on doing if they are successful at the polls come September 16th, of which, of course, Mr. Roberts says they will be successful. But of course, the Bahamian people decides that, right? Obie?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So, Obie, the question was before the break about the disabled, and that is not, even as a news reporter, I remember the disabled community asking this question, saying that they've been neglected and ignored for so long. And what can they expect? You know, should the Progressive Liberal Party be successful at the polls next month? What can they expect? As the lady said, I forgot the name, but she said, you know, like, listen, they're not lazy. They're not trying to just sit there and perhaps collect unemployment. No, they want to actually live meaningful lives.
Now, Shenique, I just want to remind the people, back in 2015, when we were the government, we had actually a groundbreaking ceremony at Glasson Road for a center for the disabled. All right, but also we were greatly impacted by two hurricanes. One was Hurricane Joaquin in October 2015.
Kara, I don't know what's happening, but we cannot see Obie. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Obie.
Oh, okay, you gave me now. I was just saying.
No, I can hear you, yes.
Okay, in 2015, the PLP government had broken ground on a center, all right, for the disabled. That was around I think it was May 2015. That we were preparing to build a facility for the disabled. And then subsequently, we were impacted by Hurricane Joaquin in October 2015. And then also we had another storm, another hurricane a year later. And then we were going into a general election. So it did not give us the opportunity to complete that structure. But it was a commitment that we wanted to give to persons who were disabled and persons who were developing disabilities, that the PLP government did not want them to feel that they were being excluded or ignored in the country. And that is one of the things that we're going to revisit and to provide a facility for the ones who are disabled. And you will hear this, and I don't want to preempt our party's pledge and what is going to be taking place within a week, Shenique, but I just wanted to provide some history on what we had began and then what happened that led to it not being complete. But we're looking to continue that once we're elected, to provide a facility for persons who are disabled or developing disabilities.
What else can the Bahamian people look forward to? And I know, of course, there is a town meeting, a virtual, that's planned on the economy and a number of other sort of events until September 16th. But just sort of tidbit that you can tell us, if only one other thing.
Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to provide a snapshot of some of the initiatives that we want to provide for the Bahamian people. All right, opportunities in different segments of society. Many persons have expressed interest in Crown Land and the accessibility to Crown Land. You had also persons, just for instance, in sports, athletic opportunities, scholarships in that regard, as we've seen persons who have benefited from that in the past. Small business opportunities. If persons can recall back in 2013, under then Minister of State of Finance, Michael Akitas, who rolled out a small business initiative. Thank God this F&M government was able to follow that particular initiative and did not allow that to go to hell in a handbasket, but give small businesses funding, who come up with a proper plan to help Bahamians who want to open up businesses and to contribute to society, those type of opportunities, Shenique. Because if I may, Bahamians right now, all right, as we're going through this pandemic, young men who I speak to, all they're asking for is for opportunities, opportunities that they could take care of themselves, either their family, their children, or child or children, and they just don't know how. When they try to do so, as we've seen during this COVID pandemic, persons who want to sell coconuts on the side of the street, just so they don't have to go out and rob somebody to get any money. They're seeing that being dashed and you being taken off to jail. That frustrates individuals right now. They're trying to be creative. They take care of themselves. They said, well, Mr. Roberts, what are the opportunities that we have? I said, I don't want to pick up a gun. I don't want to pick up a knife and go out and rob somebody. What opportunities can be provided for us? I mentioned to them what we did with the National Training Agency. That there, I'm saying that that's going to be reestablished for persons who want to go there, but it was also for persons between the ages of 16 to 25, Shenique. Our young people who want another opportunity. Persons who want to start up businesses, that small business plan is going to be something that I anticipate that's going to be coming back for persons who want to start their own businesses, Shenique. But our leader and deputy leader will go into a lot more and many other things in depth next week. I would encourage persons on August 31st, please, to tune in to the Progressive Liberal Party's leader and deputy leader as we unveil our economic plan for the future, as we're going to build, in my humble opinion, be elected as the next government of the Bahamas on September 16th, as we unroll our plan and present it to the Bahamian people and what is in store on the Progressive Liberal Party. Shenique, let me give you also some insights, Under the former government, and these are some of the things that touch the lives of people. We looked at in the Defense Force with the purchase of 9 Defense Force vessels. Let me tell you how that in itself played a major role in our country. Not just patrolling our borders, but we also had fishermen and persons in our aquatic life. Our brothers and sisters from Abaco and Spanish Wells, particularly Spanish Wells, recorded great numbers in their crawfish season. Their catches, they had record numbers in their catches because we had boats that were patrolling our borders that was keeping them safe, and they was allowing them to pick up their catches and be able to bring it back to market and sell for them to make money. The simplest of things that many of us may take for granted means a lot to different persons in different areas of our livelihood. That just came from national security, Shenique. I also mentioned in some aspects in terms of education and how under the PLP we doubled education, scholarships for persons overseas. They give Bahamians the opportunity if they wanted to further their education overseas and they meet the criteria, there are opportunities for them. These are different things that we're looking to provide and continue on to provide opportunities and inspire hope for present and future Bahamians, Shenique. That's just a touch. I think that's just a tip of the iceberg. That's just a tip of the iceberg.
And where can Bahamians hear more of this plan once again?
It's going to be on October 31st, and they can also, if they want to watch it on Facebook, on the Progressive Liberal Party's Facebook page as well. All right, that they could tune in and listen to our leader and deputy leader and articulate our plan going forth. Persons could be aware and educated, and then hopefully help them make up their minds. All right, whomever's sitting on the fence. But we're waiting for the Free National Movement to do the same, Shenique. We're waiting for them, but that's why we want them, their leader, to accept our leader's challenge of a healthy debate. He owes it to the Bahamian people, Shenique. Many people right now are not in support of Dr. Minnis, and they want to hear what is his plan going forth for the country. In my estimation and many others, he has no plan. We have seen how he's handled his leadership over the last 4.5 years. We've seen how he's handled this COVID matter. Lord help us, we saw how he handled the debacle in Hurricane Dorian and Abaco and Grand Bahama. So it ain't expect nothing more from Dr. Minnis. But if he has the courage, accept Philip Brave Davis's challenge. The Bahamian people are entitled to it, Shenique.
Obie Roberts, I thank you very much, sir, for spending this hour with us here on The Conversation. Absolutely, once again, everybody share this live stream, share it, get it out there. And Mr. Roberts, you know what? I thank you. I thank you for stopping by today, and I look forward to you stopping by again, certainly before September 16th. But once again, of course, you heard Obie say that the Progressive Liberal Party will have an event on August 31st. Streaming live on Facebook and on television about just unveiling and really sort of fleshing out really in greater detail than he did today what the plans are, what the mandate is, etc. Obie, one final comment, sir.
And Shenique, besides that also, they could also tune into the Progressive Liberal Party's Facebook page, as our leader will be unveiling our team as well. We'll be unveiling our team of candidates that's going to lead us into the next general election on September 16th. And we're going to have a series of events. That is just one that's going to be held this Friday, August 27th. But stay tuned on August 31st. Everyone will be able to see it on Facebook. Make it easy for persons to sit down and read. And if they want to provide their comments and suggestions or questions, we will take all of those in under advisement and see how best we can incorporate all Bahamians in this vision plan of transforming this country and restoring order to this country, Shenique.
I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you continue to enjoy your afternoon as well, Obie. And of course, looking forward to seeing you once again and having a nice chat with you once again. Everybody, thank you so much for streaming today and your comments. I know I didn't get to most of your comments, but certainly thank you very much for streaming. Also, once again, do share the live stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. And see you all on the next live show or interview. Stay tuned to this page. We will be doing a number of things just like you saw today and of course last week, and continuing on as we move forward to September 16th. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon and see you on the next live.
I need a little conversation. You need a little conversation. We can go far with the conversation. Here with Shenique.